Starting and running a business is hard, but you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're an established business owner or thinking about starting a side hustle to earn extra income, I am here to teach you how to show up as your unfiltered self, level up your business, and thrive as a mompreneur. Let's embrace the chaos and start enjoying the journey together. I'm Amy Traw, and you're listening to the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. Welcome back into the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. Today, we are talking all about systems with our guest, Taryn Rachelle. Welcome, Taryn, into the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love chatting all things systems, so I'm super excited for our conversation today.
Yes, because that systems are a game changer. Like, I am such a fan of what you do, and I cannot wait to chat more with you about this topic. So before we dive in, tell our listeners more about yourself, who you are and what you do.
Yeah, of course. So first and foremost, I am a mom of two. I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. And so with having kids, especially in young ages, we are now getting into sports and all things like that. And our schedule in our personal life is so crazy that if I didn't have systems for my business and my personal life, there is no way that I'd be able to function. I always tell my husband that I literally malfunction if something does not have a system. But I realize that not everyone has a systems mindset like I do. And that is why we have our business, Social Lifestyle Co., which is all for helping you learn how to love and implement systems in your business. We primarily work with the wedding and event industry, including photographers, but we do work with other industries. But everything that I teach and talk about can be applied to whatever business you have, whatever stage of business you are in. And I like to talk about systems of like where you guys are at in your systems. I don't ever talk too high level unless you are at that point of understanding it, because systems can be overwhelming. And my goal and mission is for them not to be. And I want people to learn how to love and implement them. So that is what we're all about. And just super excited to chat about all things systems with you.
Amazing. So for the listener that's like, okay, this sounds amazing. I need systems. I need this in my life. Where do they even get started?
Yeah. So, first is going to be mindset. And I will always say that when it comes to systems, if you go in with it of having a mindset of systems are overwhelming, or I don't need them, or I don't need systems until I have a team, that is just not the right mindset to have. So, the first step is going to be having a systems mindset, which is remembering what a system is. So, your system is not the tool that you use for your business, it is the process. The system tool is where you put that process into. And so I like to make that very crystal clear, because I'm not saying, hey, go sign up for ClickUp and go sign up for Dubsado right now and all these things. First, you just need to start with your process. And everyone has a system, whether they know it or not. It's either written on paper in a digital platform like ClickUp, or it is living in your head rent free. And I would say probably like 90% of people is probably living in their head rent free if you're just getting started with systems. And we want to take that out of your head. And so the first step is going to be your mindset. Second step is going to be just outlining your process for certain areas of your business. So just start with one area at a time and start mapping out what that process looks from the beginning to the end result. And then all the steps that happen in between those 2 points. And that is where you can figure out where you can automate things and where you can delegate things to team members, even if you have them or not. You can future forecast of, if I do have a virtual assistant at some point, these are the kinds of steps in this process that I could delegate to that person when I have them. And so outlining your process and your system is where you want to go once you have that systems mindset, and to really figure out, okay, what does it take to get this task in my business accomplished, whether it is posting on social media or onboarding a client.
Oh my gosh, so good. You just dropped so many like valuable bits of wisdom right there. And I love too what you said about, these systems are usually living in our head rent free. And We were talking before we hit record just about how busy mom life is and trying to keep all of that up in these already noisy brains of ours. It's exhausting. I can
It is
only handle
so
so many,
exhausting.
right? I can only handle so many decisions in a given day, so many workflows and processes that I find when I don't have a system in place, then I'm just staring at the computer like, okay, I know I have a million things to do. I don't even know where to start.
Exactly. And I mean, think about it, as moms of like, think about your kids like in school, their teachers, their school, they have developed a system for how the day is going to run. And if our kids just went in those doors and there was no system or process in place, how chaotic do you think the school would be that your kids go to? They just walk in the door and they just are like, okay, like, figure it out, and they would be a deer in headlights, or they would be just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get into the jello in the kitchen and I'm going to do all these things. It's going to be like chaos, like running rampant around the school. But schools have developed a system in place to make the kids' lives easier, to help with their education, to make the teachers' lives easier. That is their system of in a school. And so if you think about it, when you look at other areas of your life, of your business, and see that there are systems in place and how that makes things easier. Now, think about that for your personal business. If you were to develop a system of when you walked in the door of your business, and a lot of us work from home. So, whether that's walking into your office in your house, walking into your living room, getting into your space of I am at work right now, think about if you had a system, if you walked into and you knew that things were going to run a certain way, how much mental capacity would be freed of everything living in your head, and how more productive your business would be, which then increases your revenue, which then should increase your profit.
Oh my gosh, game changer right there. And it's so important that you touched upon the mindset piece of it because it does. When you have these systems in place, when you go into your office, like, okay, no, this is my job, that's where your business transforms from it's just a side hustle. It's just this. No, this is your business. You are the CEO of your business. Like, this is amazing. And that right there can really be the game changer for so many entrepreneurs.
Yeah, when you really decide to acknowledge that you are the CEO of your business, and that is again a mental shift and change that you have to make. Because I believe even if you do have a side hustle, you are still the CEO of your business. So that is really important to develop that mindset, because it's going to help you make better decisions, not just for your systems, but for everything in your business, your finances, when you're building a team, when you're creating content for your business. The way you show up in your marketing efforts is going to be really different if you know that you are the CEO of your business and no one else is going to be doing this marketing for you. And you need to be the one doing it. Even if you do have a team helping you with it, you should know the ins and outs of what is happening in your marketing calendar. And so, knowing and believing and understanding that you are the CEO of your business is going to just change the way that you show up and change the way that you create systems and stuff like that for your business.
So, so good. Now, are there some tools that we can be using as moms to start to implement some of these systems? And maybe, are there technology things that we can use that could help us?
Yeah, definitely. So, there's a lot of different system tools out there, and they all do different things. I really don't believe that there's one tool out there that does it all. I laugh at the ads that get fed to me because I'm obviously researching systems all the time. So, the ads that I get, even on like Hulu, I'm getting like some kind of system ads. My husband's always laughing because he's like, oh my gosh, you can't get away from it. But I always laugh because they say, like, oh, like one all platform and all, it does all these things. And for me, at the end of the day, I really don't feel like that is true. And so we talk about system tools, especially for service providers, we call it the trifecta. So it is your CRM tool, which is where you take like invoicing, your leads come in, send out proposals, do contracts, like all that kind of stuff. That is your client management software. Then you can use a project management tool to keep track of your tasks, whether it is client facing tasks, internal tasks, even just ideas. It's where I map out, my podcast episodes, my guest speaking to be on podcasts. Like everything goes into my project management tool. And then somewhere that you communicate. Gone are the days of giving your phone number out to your clients. Like, please stop giving your phone number out to your clients. Even if you are a coach or anything, I know it's different, like the wedding and event industry, which is what we work with. So, because they're working with brides. But even then, a lot of my clients are incorporating a tool like Slack because it helps set those boundaries with their clients of even if they're sending a message in a platform like Slack at like 2 a.m. If you have your notifications off, and yes, you can do this on your phone, but how much more likely are you to check a text message in your phone and respond to it than see a notification in Slack and respond to it? For me, if I get a text, like I will probably most likely respond, or I will stay up thinking about it. If it's in Slack, I don't even look at it. I don't go in there until my office hours because I have set those boundaries. But we go into our text messages because we are also texting with our husbands or our wives, or you know what I mean? Like we are going in there and doing those things. And so we call that the trifecta. So a CRM platform, a project management tool, and then somewhere that you are communicating with your clients and also your team members if you have them. So finding tools that work within those. So I'll give you guys all an example of one for each of them. So CRM tools, we work with and recommend Dubsado. I'm a certified Dubsado specialist, so a little biased, but I also have worked in other tools and I've been in other tools. I started in HoneyBook when I started my business. It is a great tool. It does have pretty basic functions. So, like, if you are just getting started out with systems and are a little like overwhelmed, the back end of it is easier to understand than Dubsado, but you can outgrow the platform. So I always like to make that clear is I felt like I really outgrew the platform. A lot of my clients do, and then we end up just moving over to Dubsado anyways. So if you see your business going to that 6-figure and above mark, I would say find a tool robust like Dubsado. For project management tools, Trello is a great one to start out with. Again, you can outgrow that platform. I was on there and now I'm on ClickUp. And a lot of people use Notion, Asana. Those are all project management tools. For communication, Voxer is one that a lot of people like. I personally don't find it as systemized. It's really hard to find messages. It's more a voice message app. So, trying to find that one voice message that our client said about X, Y, and Z is kind of hard to find. So I like Slack because you can do both text and voice. It's easier to categorize things and find messages. So those would be out of the trifecta, the ones that I recommend to use for your business.
Awesome recommendations. And the thing with the different systems is a lot of them you can have a free week trial or have a short trial period. So try it out and see if it's going to work for you and meet your needs because we all have different needs depending on what stage of business you're in, your industry, so many things. I love how you said there's no one size fits all. So it's just,
Yeah.
taking a little bit of time to dive in there and try it out. See what will work for you.
Yeah. And my favorite thing is YouTube. Like,
Yeah.
literally go to YouTube and type in how to use ClickUp as a social media manager, like how to use Dubsado as a photographer. And so many things will pop up, whether it is something that is from the actual like system tool itself. So a tool like Dubsado, a certified Dubsado specialist, we create webinars that are specific for industries and we put them on their Dubsado YouTube channel. So I have two of them, and you can literally go on there and learn about how to use the platform for specific industries. So it's really great to, if you're going to dive into a tool, don't just do a free trial and then get lost and then your free trial's up and then you're like, well, I'm either going to pay for it or now it's just like a tool that I just like don't use. Really take time. Like if you're going to dive into using Trello, find YouTube videos on Trello, find a specialist that can help you if you want to outsource and really dive into it and get your systems hands dirty. Because if you just like have a tool sitting there, you're one just going to be paying for it if you're paying for it. and that's a wasted business expense. Or you're just still not going to have systems and have a system tool for your business. So really utilize YouTube. It's like the easiest thing to utilize, but a lot of people like overcomplicate how to learn these tools. And I'm like, go to YouTube. Like you will find the answer to everything. I use it as a system specialist. So use it to your advantage.
Oh my gosh. And it was as quickly as everything changes in technology. YouTube is like the resource. Like that is our encyclopedia for everything, our how-to guide. I know when I first set up my Google business listing, it was like, okay, I followed the man step by step by step. I had it like split screen because yeah, use your resources. Like it's okay to look things up. Make sure
Yeah.
yes, you're using, someone credible, but yeah, resources are available. You just have to do a little legwork, and it's okay to ask for help. And the other thing you mentioned too, systems help you maintain boundaries, which is key to avoiding burnout because as moms, we're busy. And if we're working 24/7, is that really why most of us went into business? Is that why most of us don't have these 9 to 5 jobs? No. We wanted the flexibility and the freedom. We didn't want to be working 24/7. So systems will help you maintain those boundaries.
Yeah, and I feel like it is so true that many people start their businesses because they want that flexibility. And even for me, when I first started my business, I worked in retail like 60 plus hours a week. I worked for companies like Forever 21 and Zara. And when I had my daughter, I was a single mom for the first year of her life until I met my husband. And during that year was when I was working those 60 plus hours a week in retail. I did what I had to do to support me and my daughter, and I will never regret that. But I also missed out on like so much of her life. And especially working in retail, if anyone here has done so, I did a lot of clopens where I would like close the night before and then open the next day. And so I was missing like pretty much 2 days of her life back to back. And that just like broke my mom heart. And so then when I started my business, I was like, doing the thing that a lot of us do, working 24/7. And I was back in that cycle and back on the hamster wheel. And then when I figured out how systems work and what they really are and how I could incorporate them into my business, I was like, you know what? Like, this is going to be a game changer. And then I started to realize that like not everyone understands how they work. And that's how I started, talking about it and offering services on it. But when I was realizing, and I'm sure many of you listening, are like, I feel the same way. I started because I wanted time to be with my family or time to do things for myself because, hey, mom, self care, we need it. And so I want time to be able to, go out and do things or go get my hair done or things like that and not be stuck to a desk. And, but then if we're doing that to ourselves, you need to take a step out of your business and take a look in from the outside and be like, you know what? This is probably happening because I don't have these boundaries in place. I haven't told my clients my office hours. I don't have automatic emails that go out when inquiries come in. And so I'm up at 2 a.m. sending an inquiry that no one's going to read at 2 a.m. and sending that to a lead because I don't want to miss out on income. But your system tools can do that for you. And so, really, like setting those boundaries for your own sanity, for the values and mission and why of why you started your business. If your business isn't following that, then we need to make a change. And a lot of time that change can happen by incorporating systems that set those boundaries and make that possible for you so that you can love your business again and you can do what you wanted to do from the get-go.
Amen, mama. Goodness. Yes, that is so powerful. So true. Because, yes, we need boundaries. We need to remember our why. And I am such an advocate too for like having it written down. Write down your why. Why did you start this business? What are those mission? What is your mission? What are those values? What is your vision for what you want to grow it into? That's what gets us through on those hard days. And it doesn't have to be as complicated as we're making it out to be.
No,
So,
it doesn't. And like if you don't have those and you feel like you don't, like take a second to sit down and figure them out because as someone that's a service provider, like and you would think, oh, with systems like or hiring a system specialist, like I don't need to like know these things. Like I actually need those from my clients because I make sure that their system tools speak to those your why, your values, your brand voice, your brand messaging. And so if you feel like you haven't developed those in your business, take time to do so. And there's actually people out there. I worked with one to really develop my brand mission and my messaging and things like that. Because once I did that, it made a huge change, even just in my systems, because I was seeing the different areas of where I wasn't setting those boundaries of, really connecting and following my values and following my mission and following my I want to be off work when my kids get home from school and following, oh, I also want to coach my daughter's softball team this spring. And so I need to make sure I have boundaries in place so I'm not overwhelmed, having practices and games and going to opening ceremony last night. Like, I want to feel like I can go and do those things and not be like, wow, I'm going to do this, but I know tomorrow I'm going to have to work twice as hard because I just took all that time off. Like, no, set your systems up to help you to be able to have a life because we need to build our businesses around our life and not the other way around, especially as moms. That is again why we probably started our businesses. And we just need to get back to that.
yes. Oh my gosh. This was such a great episode. Where can we learn more and get into your world?
Yeah, so you can always slide into my DMs. My Instagram is the Social Lifestyle Co. And my website is sociallifestyleco.com. And you guys can find any information on any services we have. I have a lot of free resources. And also, I am not about gatekeeping information behind closed doors and paid doors. So, my social media content, my email newsletter, my blogs are always full of value packed information. So if systems are something that overwhelm you, you don't know where to get started, binge my content, and you will start to get an idea of what systems are. And any questions you have, just feel free to DM me. No question's a stupid question. I will answer anything. You will probably get a voice message from me because I'm a mom and need my hands free. So you'll get a voice message probably. But slide in and say hi. I'd love to hear that you came from the podcast.
Oh my gosh, so good. Well, thank you again for taking time out of your busy day to share your value with our listeners. This was awesome.
Of course, anytime. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, until next time, stop dreaming and start taking messy action. You've got this. Are you loving what you're hearing? Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode.